there, powerful feminine leaders. This is Randa, and in this video, I want to talk about the concepts of going with the flow, flowing freely, and surrender. You know, the concepts that our inner masculine just cringes at and it screams at us, saying, of course not. We're not going with the flow. We're not surrendering. That's not how we do things. This is not how we do action. This is not what brings us tangible results, right? And I think that for the most of us, if not all of us, we have been programmed to believe this is the only way we have to operate in order to bring any kind of results. So I remember, like, to me in school, I was the nerd in class. I would, study real hard to get to get good results. And at work as well, I would, work my butt off, excuse my French, to get the results that I want and to get the good appraisal from my superiors. And so for our inner masculine, this is the only way we do things. And I think that there exists a point in the life of every one of us where our own heroine's journey starts. That is when our inner feminine just revolts and rebels against the reality that we are not giving it enough space to manifest, to take part in the way we show up in the world. And this is where we feel the most disconnected from ourselves. And if we are lucky enough, this is the point where we go through that heroine's journey in search for answers, in an effort to reconnect to that lost part within ourselves. And to me, that is when I started, studying more about feminine energy and what are the qualities of this energy and how can I cultivate that more in my life. And so when I got to the concept of surrender and going with the flow, there was a lot of resistance because, every feminine needs to feel supported, taken care of, protected. These are, innate needs within every feminine. And what we do is that our inner masculine, through the action and the work we do, we give that to ourselves. We give to ourselves that sense of security. And so we feel supported by ourselves, by our inner masculine, because of the action we do when we operate from that space. This is where the masculine energy is good for us. This is where we should be cultivating the masculine energy in our lives. But when we get to that point of surrender and the resistance starts showing up, well, at least for me, it started showing up as doubt, because, surrender, any like project in my life, to surrender any plan, that would mean that, I'm asking God to bless it and take part in the co-creation process. But then my inner masculine starts saying, have I done enough to ask for that blessing? Sometimes I would be like a little bit embarrassed. Maybe I haven't done enough. Maybe I need to add this action. Maybe I need to do this more thing to be deserving of, God's help. But, like I said, this is the masculine resisting the idea of, surrendering. And our ego is really very smart. So it takes, it masks the resistance with different masks. And so I have come to a point where I realized that surrender is not the absence of action, but it is an action of a different kind. It is action the feminine way. There's nothing weak about surrendering because it takes a lot of strength to get to that point where you fully trust God and you fully trust this higher power to deliver you what you want according to the divine plan. Really, it takes a lot of strength to and patience to believe in that divine plan. And to me, it required a lot of inner work to get to that place where I see surrender as power, but the feminine kind of power, not as giving up, not as just, leaning back and wishing upon a star. It is taking into consideration the actions that I have done, but always being in connection with God and that higher power, believing that whatever I want to bring about into this world does not really come about without God taking part in the creation process. And when we give this power, when we surrender this power to God, I think this is where we start feeling supported and protected and cared for. So we surrender to a higher power. We fully trust in this higher power, and we have strong faith in this higher power to deliver us what we want. And that place, like I said, there's no weakness about coming into that place. It requires a lot of strength and perseverance and patience, and also being compassionate with our inner masculine as well. But to come to that place is really powerful. And so if you are going through your own heroine's journey, if you are going through any of these doubts, if you are feeling like resisting surrender and going with the flow, reach out and let's talk about this more. Let's discuss how your inner masculine is resisting that and how you can get to that place where you surrender in power, where you surrender the feminine way, where you claim your power from the highest power, from God, and where you get to that place where you really feel safe and you trust in the process. So I'm excited to learn also your story about this concept, how it manifested in your life and how you have dealt with it. And I would love, to be with you on that journey to get to that place.